paper, so if you want to get that out while you're waiting for me to peruse your attendance to Alyssa. Mariana. Everyone's dropping like flies. Paul, I saw you. Jakey, I saw you. Jakey, I saw you. Alex, I see you. Maddox, I saw you. Lee, I saw you. Tom, there you are. Elijah and Jilly Boo, I saw you. No, just wait 10 minutes. All right. All right. So real quickly, we went through half of these, which is good. We're going to go through the other half. On Friday's test, it's primarily asking questions revolving around your vocab words and the Bill of Rights and these additional amendments. Okay? So when you guys do the open book quiz, start it today. Hopefully, maybe finish or get most of it done. As always, some of these questions will be on the test and or very, very, very similar questions. Or per your scenario assignment, you may see things like similar as well, where they give you like a situation and ask, like, what's the violation? I will look again. I don't think there's any particular question that says, like, what amendment number is this? Like, you have to give the legit exact number. So I'll let you know, but it's mostly understanding the parts of it. And as always, you can use this to kind of fill out your study guide, but you need to like write your study guide in a way that's going to help you. If you just write like one word and then you go back and look at it and you're like, what did I mean by this? That's not helping. I don't want any summaries or paragraphs or sentences. Just like write it in a short little snippet so it helps you. Okay? All right. Secondly, before I forget, I don't want to forget. Sorry, guys, just to keep using you. All right, on the back of this assignment, the scenarios, which is due Friday. If you want to turn it in sooner, you can, but I'm not physically going to touch it until Friday. So each afternoon when I go through, I'm only looking for like any old stuff, which there's only one old thing right now, vocab. Anything else, I just leave it in there because it's not due yet. On the back now, this is about the additional amendments. The front's all about the Bill of Rights, 1 through 10. This is about the additional. Did anyone notice an oddball amendment that was on the back that you're like, where is this coming from? Elijah? 23. So if you guys could, on your paper, this is where you're helping yourself out. Underneath E, Amendment 23, I want you to write voting in DC. Those 3 words. That's what the 23rd Amendment is all about. For whatever reason, people are following the Constitution saying that voting only applied to the 50 states. In like Washington, D.C., people who physically live there in that borough, like right here, they were excluded. So in the top, you'll see a situation where someone was unable to vote because they lived in Washington, D.C. They were excluded. So the 23rd Amendment put it in writing that if you live in Washington, D.C., you should not be, obviously, not allowed to vote. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Does that really matter to us? No, you could probably care less. If you're living in DC, if you're a resident, then obviously you would care. Like, I want to vote, that's my right. Like, I should be voting. But to us, we're just like, okay, good for them. It's not like it's about a whole big group, like the class of people, gender, race, or anything. It's just about these specific people, like geographically. Okay? So in case you're wondering, some of you I know probably Googled it. But I want to make sure I share that with you so you know what it is. Secondly, if we have time, I will do it today, but otherwise it's first thing on my agenda. I am going to put this in color tomorrow so that you could see all of these. On My Learning, this is uploaded and you can see the colored version, but just so you can get stuff done in class and you don't have to do homework, I will put the picture up on the screen so you can see all these in color. Because if you're like, I can't see, this is grainy, like I don't even know what I'm looking at. I do want to make sure that you can see it clearly. So just know if you don't have this part done yet, you will have the chance, like at the beginning of class tomorrow, to knock it out. Any cues? All right. So yesterday we went over 13, 14, 15, 3 consecutive amendments that are called the Civil War Amendments. and they had to do mostly with voting rights, okay? No, I lied. They had to do with slavery. The next ones have to go with voting, sorry. The next three, the 19th, 24th, and 26th. The 19th, we're on page 212 now. Throughout the 19th century, American women were denied the right to vote. So we learned in the 15th Amendment that African Americans, it could not be forbade to vote. Depending on your color, race, whether or not you're a slave, your background, no one should be forbidden to vote. But it still excluded certain people. People under the age of 21 and women. So it's kind of like, it's baby steps, but still it's not all inclusive. The 19th Amendment, women reformers sought an amendment that would give women the right to vote across America. They used many tactics on behalf of women's suffrage, including in some cases civil disobedience, which we know is one of our vocab words. After many campaigns and struggles, women finally secured the right to vote in all states with the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920. So 2 years ago, it was the 100th anniversary, which isn't that old. I mean, obviously 100 years, like most of us won't live that long, but still, it doesn't seem that far back. While women secured suffrage with the 19th Amendment, women reformers in the 1960s and 70s wanted greater equality of opportunity. They failed, however, to achieve adoption of the Equal Rights Amendment. This amendment was proposed by Congress in 1972, but was never ratified by enough states. It stated the equality of rights should not be denied on account of sex. Women themselves became divided over whether to support the amendment, and many claimed it was unnecessary. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, do you guys remember that name? A former Supreme Court justice who died several years ago, but she was a justice for many years, and like kind of had a little bit of notoriety. She was famous in pop culture. There was a movie that came out, like, I'd say within the last 5 years, and it was called On the Basis of Sex. And I'm trying to think, would you know the lead actress? She's young, who played her, what other movie she's been in. But it was like at the theaters and such. And the whole premise was she was behind this movement, the Equal Rights Amendment in the 1970s. She was a big part of it because women were like being paid less for jobs. They were like kind of looked over when they had equal qualifications to men. So they were trying to say like women should be treated equally as to men. It's not just, about race and creed and all that. So equal rights meant, and unfortunately that amendment was not passed. Okay? The 24th Amendment. Tactics such as poll taxes were once used even as late as the 1960s by southern states to discourage African American voters. The 24th Amendment prohibited any state from requiring the payment of a poll tax for citizens to vote in federal elections.